Our View with John Anderson.
This past month or so has been a little turbulent for our hometown airline, United Airlines. First, they had the plane that had to be diverted to Midway Island after taking off from Honolulu on the regular daily flight to Guam. Midway? Really? Well, it turned out that plane load of passengers, about 300 of them, were glad Midway was there. Their plane, a Boeing 777, was losing its navigation systems and reportedly unable to communicate. The pilot had to make a telephone call from Midway to let airline officials know where he and the passengers were. A long-distance phone call. Another 777 was sent out to pick them up. The disabled plane was repaired in place and ferried back to San Francisco and was put back in service, we are told. Many of those on board felt the plane should never have been allowed to take off because of foul odors in the waiting room. This past week, not one but two 777 flights to Hawaii had to return to Guam after taking off because troubles developed. Some of the passengers on these flights tweeted and Facebooked about the adventure and even posted pictures of the window being repaired in the cockpit. Something about a poorly sealed window. That was the excuse given for the flight problems. Add to that a canceled Hong Kong flight plus the problems with Cape Air, which carries the Continental livery and fails to maintain its Saipan rota service reliably, and the United Airlines has not had a very good month. Given the discussion on social media, it would be surprising if at least some of the comments from Guam travelers did not reach the desk of Jeff Smisek, the CEO of the airline. He came into the merger from the Continental side of the company, and he must be aware that many frequent travelers here on Guam wish the merger had never happened. Bring back Continental, some of them say. Well, not much chance of that, but we could use some newer planes. The 777s in use out here were taken out of domestic service. They're okay aircraft, there's nothing wrong with them essentially, but the newer planes Continental had been using were pulled off and put into other, more lucrative routes, while we got left with the old workhorses from Chicago. Sure, we got increased capacity, but at the expense of comfort and apparently food. Reportedly, the airline no longer provides meals in coach for the 8-hour trip from Hawaii to Guam. No food, old planes, and oh yes, steeply increasing ticket costs, and you can begin to understand why many of our frequent flyers are not that happy with United. Senator Mike Sannicolas has scheduled a hearing on safety and maintenance for next week, and we're told United's Vice President for Maintenance is coming out here to testify and answer questions. So somebody at United's Chicago headquarters is listening to Guam. It should be an interesting hearing.
Our View represents the editorial opinion of the Pacific News Center.